And let's find out the latest on this storm's new numbers just in. Severe weather expert Maureen McCann is live in the Weather Center with the latest. Maureen?
Hey, Christine, good morning. Yep, the numbers just off the printer, looking at winds still at 60 miles per hour. So it has strengthened overnight. If you're just waking up and didn't see the 2 a.m. advisory, winds picked up to 60 miles per hour. It is moving to the north at 6 miles per hour. So it has some forward momentum. We like seeing that northerly track because it keeps the steady, heaviest rain on the east side of the storm, which means it's further away from central Florida. But we do have those outer bands that are going to be spiraling on shore, and some of these could contain some torrential downpours today. Not finding a whole lot at this time, but the breezy conditions will also prevail. We remain with our tropical storm watches for Volusia and Brevard County. Actually, it was just discontinued south of Sebastian Inlet, but for the coastal waters, that is a tropical storm warning. Very warm, very muggy out there. We're in the 70s. As for your winds this hour, they're all showing that northerly component for the most part. Melbourne 13 miles per hour, but that will pick up especially in the stronger squalls. I'll have more on this with your next check of weather on the ones at 5:11, but let's get our first check of traffic for the morning, and for that we say hello to Ryan Harper. Good morning, Ryan.
Good morning, Mo. 5:02.
A Tropical Storm Arthur update.
While the center of Tropical Storm Arthur remains about 90 miles to the east-southeast of Cape Canaveral, rough seas are going to result for all of our coastal counties and adjacent waters. Look at these wave heights on Storm Tracker 13 for the nearshore waters between around 2 to 5 feet. But then you see the color display really indicating the drop in pressure, meaning the rise in sea heights. So not a day to take the boat out. Hazardous today and tomorrow, and some improvements by the holiday weekend. So good timing for us, but this storm is going to hold together for several more days and likely intensify into a hurricane over the span of the next 24 hours. Here are the latest numbers in from the National Hurricane Center, moving north at 6 miles per hour. That's what we want to see, because if it moves to the north, of course, it stays away from central Florida, and you can really tell that all the heavy convection is on the east side of the low. Yesterday, we were seeing very minimal activity on the northern edge, but there are plenty of bands that are going to be moving on shore. Again, the center located about 90 miles off the coast of Cape Canaveral, with some of the outer bands getting closer to Volusia County as well, off the coast of Daytona Beach by some 30 miles or so. That is going to be the type of weather we see today. These periods of rain spiraling on shore, lots of moisture to work with. As you go further away from the coast, the air a little bit drier. We can see that on the water vapor loop. So that means we're going to have less coverage as you get away from I-4, but we do have ample moisture in place at the surface, and that means the humidity is going to help fuel some of these stronger bands of rain. An overview of our advisories. These remain unchanged from Flagler Beach south. We have our tropical storm watch. That's a warning for the offshore waters, meaning conditions are imminent for tropical storm conditions. So our main impacts today: heavy rain, gusty winds at the coast, the rough surf, and with any rotating system or spiraling of bands coming on shore, we also run the risk of isolated tornadoes and water spouts. Winds will be strongest for our coastal areas in Volusia and Brevard counties. Taking you through the day on Storm Tracker 13. And see those winds mostly out of the north to northwest. By the contours, you can see where those stronger gusts will be. So we'll pair the gusty winds today, which will fade overnight, with the heavy downpours, maybe amounting to 1 to 3 inches of rain for our coastal counties. And when that rain occurs over the same areas for an extended period of time, that is when we could get into localized flooding. Lower 90s today across the board with your forecast numbers for tonight. Those readings will be in the 70s. A couple more showers before things gradually taper for tomorrow, with your outlook for Thursday calling for readings back in the middle 90s. Quick look at your surf outlook for today. A reminder, not a day to be in the water because of the rough conditions and high rip current threat. Got your tides right here. I'll be back in less than 10 minutes. Right now, Storm Tracker 13.
A Tropical Storm Arthur update.
21 minutes past the hours when we always check on the tropics, but today it's a little more important because of the proximity of Tropical Storm Arthur to our east coast of Florida. And that means we do have a list of advisories to pass on to you, being the Tropical Storm Watch for Volusia and Brevard counties and points south. For the coastal and offshore waters, that is your Tropical Storm warning. So it's really going to be the boaters that's going to be where the main impact will be, because the center of circulation located about 90 20 miles offshore has the concentration of the strongest wind and the heaviest rainfall out over the water and on the east side of the storm. So you're looking at the 5 a.m. numbers coming in from the National Hurricane Center. A little bit more forward movement with this, but that's good for Central Florida because as long as it stays on that northerly track, the steadiest rain stays on the east side. But some of the bands on the northern edge have become a little bit more organized this morning, and those are going to be coming on shore. As for the wind field, what you're looking at the radius from the center circulation and how strong the winds are, the tropical storm force winds closest to the low and then out around it. We have those winds that are upwards of 39 miles per hour as well. So they extend about 80 miles from the center of circulation. So the heaviest wind or the strongest wind stays offshore, but within some of the stronger bands, we could be looking at some more gusty conditions, maybe even a 50 to 60 miles per hour. Models continue to be in agreement that the low stays off the coast of Florida. However, coastal Carolinas by the weekend, this may be a little bit more of an impact for them, as by that time, Arthur will likely strengthen into a hurricane. Coastal New England also needs to be watching this, although the cone of uncertainty largely bypasses interior New England. It's Cape Cod and the islands that could see some impacts by the weekend. So this is something to watch in terms of the long-range outlook for travel plans, or of course if you wanted to head to the beach for the 4th of July in this part of the country, you may be seeing some impacts. So we want to focus on the short term and what the impacts will be like for Central Florida today. Occasional rain, it's going to come through in waves, and some places will see rain, others won't see anything, especially as you get away from I-4. Interior sections, a hot, humid day with spotty showers, but I think by dinner time tonight we'll see the storm departing to our north, and behind it we'll get back to offshore winds, if not southwesterly, and that should cut off the steadier rain showers, making things become a little bit more intermittent. So occasional rain today, I'll include that with your forecast in writing, and breezy. At the coast, that's where we'll watch for maybe tropical storm-like conditions, winds over 39 miles per hour, and of course the rough seas. Not a day to get in the water, certainly not a day to take out the boat. Your comfort zone index really not showing very comfortable conditions. Going to feel more like the upper 90s to triple digits when you factor in the humidity. One good thing about the rain, it lowers the pollen levels. So your pollen forecast brought to you by Trial Pro, the trial professionals, looks okay for today. For the next 7 days, you'll find rain chances each afternoon, but Tropical Storm Arthur will be out of here tomorrow. We'll get back to the daily occurrence of afternoon thunderstorms fueled by the sea breeze collisions, and that includes your 4th of July holiday. More coming up in less than 10 minutes with your weather on the ones. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13.
On this Wednesday, I'm Christine Webb. Let's get the latest on Tropical Storm Arthur. Meteorologist Maureen McCann is live in the Weather Center with the latest. Maureen.
Hey Christine, good morning. Yeah, we'll get to Ryan in a second, talk about the roads as things are going to be maybe a little bit soggy for your morning commute along the coast. But interior areas, we are spared from Arthur at this time. This is the latest that we're finding from the National Hurricane Center as of their 5 a.m. advisory. Winds of 60 miles per hour moving to the north at 6. So as long as it keeps that northerly track, we keep that heavy convection on the east side of the low, meaning further away from Central Florida. Notice the rain bands though on the northern side, and they're getting a little bit stronger. That's the type of weather that will be moving on shore into coastal Volusia, Flagler, northern Brevard counties. So plan on breezy conditions today, soggy conditions too, warranting these tropical storm watches and warnings for the coastal areas. Very warm and muggy out there. Upper 70s right now for most of the I-4 corridor. Winds, they're not too bad. They're between about 10 to 15 miles per hour, but might find them topping 30 miles per hour at times at the coast today. And I'll talk about that in greater detail with your county by county forecast at 5:41. All right, now we have Ryan Harper standing by with real-time traffic. The rain causing any issues for you this morning?
As of right now, Mo, it's not 5:32. It's funny you say that because I'm tracking the rain.
A Tropical Storm Arthur update.
Heavy rain going to be one of our biggest risks today with any thunderstorm or shower that comes on shore, and it's going to come through in bands. Yesterday, Storm Tracker 13 picked up on some locally heavy amounts, maybe around 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch, but also we had some rain in Sumter County and Lake County as well. Today, it's going to be, of course, focused on closer to the area of low pressure as we plot some of the rainfall totals further away from the radar site. That's where you can see clearly that's where the heaviest rain has been. So steadiest rain staying offshore, but the bands that do come through will impact you, especially at the coast today. Other risks that we are monitoring: the high wind, the rip current threat, which is elevated, and beach erosion, always a concern. Water spouts, got to watch for with any system of rotation, although that chance is fairly low for today. Not a day to be out on the water. Quite hazardous for the boaters. Winds up to 25 knots, seas climbing close to 10 feet at times. Rough on the intracoastal, that pressure trend falling due to the proximity of low pressure. So here we go with our county by county forecast, and at the coast today, closing in on 90 degrees, upper 80s for some. It's going to be a gusty day though, especially along the immediate coastline. When you get away from the shore, the impacts will be a little bit less. It's going to be hot though. It's going to be muggy across Brevard County, 90 to 92 degrees from the Cape to Melbourne to Mico, with occasional rain showers. Osceola County could also see some rain moving in from the coast. Seminole County, more so than yesterday. I do think some of the rain showers may impact you later in the day as Arthur lifts to the north. Same for Marion, Lake, and Sumter counties. But we also have to watch for the heating of the day. If these places have more sunshine, might find some pop-up thunderstorms occurring inland. For Orange County today, we'll be in the lower 90s with temperatures that will feel a lot hotter than this when you factor in the humidity. That chance for rain today standing at 60%. More coming up with your weather on the ones when we go to the tropics at 51 past. So stay tuned for that. Right now, a live look at Storm Tracker 13.
A Tropical Storm Arthur update.
51 minutes past the hour means we go to the tropics, and especially important today because of Tropical Storm Arthur, located around 90 miles east of Cape Canaveral, warranting a continuation of our tropical advisories. That is a tropical storm watch for our coastal counties as you go into the coastal waters and the offshore waters. That's upgraded to a warning that would be closer to the center of low pressure, therefore the center of the heaviest rainfall and the strongest winds that are close to the center of circulation. Here are the coordinates for you, with winds at 60 miles per hour, moving to the north at 6 miles per hour, and that is something we want to see, and it should stay on track to do so as it stays to the north. It keeps all the heavy rain on the east side of it away from central Florida. Notice these bands though, more coverage of them today compared to yesterday. That's the type of weather that's going to be spiraling on shore into central Florida, keeping us with soggy conditions for today. Arthur is still forecast to intensify as it moves across the favorable warm waters of the Gulf Stream. Water temperatures as you go away from the coast in the upper 80s, and that means it's going to likely intensify to a hurricane as soon as the next 24 hours. This next system moving across the country is going to provide much of the steering current for Arthur 2. So with high pressure keeping it from making any further progress back to the west to impact central Florida, that won't be the case as it moves up the coast. But this front really going to be crucial to see who is going to be impacted by this directly as it moves to the north. Let's look at the forecast projection. By later on today, Arthur should have passed to the east of Jacksonville, again staying well offshore, and at that point it still could be a tropical storm, if not a strong one, before it becomes likely a Category 1 hurricane. Remember, that's the cone of uncertainty, so anywhere within the yellow, there's some room to fluctuate with the exact forecast track, especially when you get into the long range. Weekend plans in New England, watching it closely for coastal sections of Cape Cod, the islands, maybe Long Island as well, for some impacts there, but still a lot of time to fine-tune that forecast. It's the short term that we are more focused on, because I'd say the next 24 hours are when we're going to feel our biggest impacts from Arthur here in central Florida. Watching it on Storm Tracker 13, you can clearly see the yellows, the oranges, the stronger areas of rain and wind stay offshore, but we get that spiraling mechanism sending in some occasional rain showers. Won't be raining all day. Notice the influx of drier air too that may help keep things a little bit drier for our western counties, and you can see that progress of the storm moving to the north. By daybreak tomorrow, it's out of here, other than a few residual showers that could impact us for Thursday. But I think today's probably the day with our greatest rain chances associated with Arthur. Quick look at those spaghetti model plots as they move up to the north, and a reminder of your travel delays as we get closer to the holiday. Looking okay right now, but we invite you to check out more on Travel Weather Now on Channel 600, exclusively on Bright House Networks. Lower 90s today, tropical storm conditions. Here's your 7-day outlook. More coming up in less than 10 minutes. Right now, Storm Tracker 13.